My friend, welcome to the world's best kept secret podcast, the podcast that shows spiritual entrepreneurs how to clarify their message and then how to turn that clarity into revenue. I'm your host, Prima Jope, a mentor and message expert since 2020. Whether you seek to simply clarify your message or feel ready to monetize your brilliance, this is your safe space for actionable guidance and practical tools on how to turn your woo into predictable revenue. Let's get started, shall we? Welcome back, and today is a beautiful day for babies. If you have kids, if you have babies, if you're a parent, this is your episode. We're going to talk about all things helping kids grow up in like the right mind. Things like trauma, things like depression, things like anxiety, things like being bullied, where the kid feels thrown around and they don't know where to belong. Those are the things we're going to talk about. A lot of trauma happens when we're babies, and my expert today is going to be the expert that really helps you navigate that path with your child. So they're not traumatized and you don't know it, and that defines their life. And so we're going to really talk about how to open doors for the children and give them a voice and allow them to tell you when things are going south. So that teenager of yours or that 3-year-old or that 4-year-old feels like the most safe place to be is with you because you know how to navigate the conversation and you know how to make them heard and understood that whatever the difficulty is that they're going to come and tell you, and that you with the child are going to have like a way to navigate that. My guest for today has written books for kids. She's the author of Belly Flies for Kids, but she's also is writing a book for adults so that you know how to navigate that path with that toddler or whatever the age is. And I'm excited for this because as business owners, we bring us to the business, and having kids is part of it. And we really can't put that in the shelf and just come and run the business. Like, the kids are happening and it's reality, and we kind of have to face it so we can show up and serve the world in whatever way we're being called to serve. If you're here for the first time, never heard about me, never known who I am, I'm Prima Jope, and this is the world's best kept secret. And what we do on this podcast really is I help whoever is listening drop whatever the limiting beliefs are, whatever the blocks are, step into whatever the mission, the vision, the message that is they're called to bring to this world, and get well compensated for it. Now, the conversation with Kath is really coming in because sometimes the person that I'm talking to is a parent, and we can't shelve that away and pretend it doesn't happen. That we have to deal with what the parent is going through. And some of it is, my child is displaced. My child is anxious. My child doesn't feel like they deserve whatever. They're being bullied. They're being this and that. And in as much as I'm not a parent, I know that parenting is a big deal, and I want to support you through the journey of parenting so that you can show up to your business at your best. And that's why we have Cathy today. If you know a parent that needs to be here, please share this with them. Let them join us, because it doesn't matter how much we try. We really will not be able to separate ourselves, our personal life, from the business. Because in the end, really, business is a game of personal growth. And if your life is falling apart, your business will follow through. And so I really don't want to have that assumption that we can, help you with a strategy and all of you make you perfect, and, the parenting can go in the cupboard, because it doesn't. And so today we're opening the parenting shelf, and we're talking about everything babies, kids, and how to help them thrive, as young people who will be the future generation. And in the same lens, we want to give you the ability to thrive as a parent and not, get sucked into worrying about your kids and what's going to come of them. So that's the conversation today. If that's your conversation, pull a stool, pull a tea, whatever it is that you love, and let's dive in. Cathy, welcome to the world's best kept secret. I am so honored.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I've said a lot about your work, but what is it that you would add to the introduction to make the listener understand what you do, really?
I have um, taken pain from an experience I've had, and I put it into my passion
Mm-hmm.
of helping children to learn techniques to help themselves as they grow. So if uh, if they're learning that they have anxiety, or they're learning that they have these feelings, which we call belly flies, like butterflies in your tummy. If
Mm.
they're having belly flies, they will be able to use different techniques that they've learned as a child and practiced as a child so much that when they get older, teenagers, even as adults, they'll revert back to that um, technique to help them out. So that's my goal intentionally, to help the children grow into healthy adults.
What age are we talking about? What's the bracket?
I think like for the children's books, they're 0 to 6.
Okay.
I think as early as possible to read and to have them involved in the books will
Mm-hmm.
help them to understand. And what's not at the beginning, it's just books and pictures, but as they grow, they'll
Mm.
understand the actual meaning, that it's helpful and it's fun. Mhm.
Can't help wonder, but like I know you've done this forever. I know this is your own experience that has buffed this. So I know we're coming from a place of hard knocks because this is like something you've experienced, and you're like, no way, there has to be a better way to solve the angst around children and what could happen to them. And I want to kind of get into the story of when did berry flies become a thing for you?
Oh, it was very tragic. I went into work one day and I was pulled aside by my friend, not even being able to speak. And it happened that the day before, I was working with this girl, Karen, and we're talking and laughing, talking about our kids. And so when I was pulled aside, my friend said, Karen lost Matt, or I think those are the words. And it's even hard for me to remember. It's like it was yesterday. And then I found out that he had taken his life. And I didn't know how to accept that, like to think what, like, yeah, I felt helpless and hopeless, and I didn't understand that. Um, really, that's all that Matt could think to do. That was his answer. It wasn't to hurt his family or his mother or anything. That was his answer. So during the day, work, everybody was crying and walking around like zombies. And when I went home, I had 2 children that I had to deal with and, be a mom to. So it was very difficult for me. And I felt kind of guilty that here I had 2 kids running around healthy and happy. And Karen is going to be sad and I don't even know the word that can explain how she's feeling. And so I went to bed that night and I couldn't sleep at all. There was nothing that would bring me calmness to sleep. So I went downstairs and I tried watching TV. I tried listening to the radio. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So what a habit that I like doing is writing my feelings down. So as I was writing my feelings down, something started developing that if I could help children at a young age, that when they're absorbing everything like sponges, if I
Mhm.
could help them at that age, maybe by the time they're a teenager, they'll be able to know how to navigate these feelings, talk to people. Like it'll just come naturally to them and they won't have such a devastating reaction from everything. And kind of just to open the door to a healthy transition from belly flies to a happy child. So that's where belly flies came from.
Mm,
And I dedicated that to Karen and her son Matt. And she believes that it's something so negative that brings positivity to the world. So she's really all for me speaking about that and encouraging people to um, teach their children how to deal with anxiety and all the other negative feelings. So that's where
mm.
that came from.
That was really sad. Like,
Yeah,
my gosh. That
unbelievable.
was
I
really
know.
sad. But I can't help wonder because in one of the things I've read about you, it says could also be like the child is being bullied or
Yeah.
feeling unaccepted in certain ways. So what I would love for you to help us understand is what is the actual problem that you're helping these children resolve? Like, how do we know if our child is a candidate for belly flies? Or what are some of the ways that children can pick up anxiety or depression? Or what is happening in the child's life that they would benefit from belly flies or the work you do?
There's children are they're so complex, even though we see them as um, simple, simple little beings. They're very
Mm,
complex. But I've heard from parents who are going through separation that
mm,
now their child says, "Mommy, I have belly flies. I don't know what to do." And they read the book and they take time to talk about it, and then they can go to sleep that night. I have I have another parent who says that they will go up to their father and say, "Daddy, do you have belly flies today? Do you want a hug?" So it's all kinds of things. Um, One was actually getting bullied, and he did not want to talk about it ever, ever. He just kept to himself. And the more this was going on, the more he kept to himself until they started talking about belly flies and reading the book. He said, I have belly flies. And then that opens a conversation. Well, what color are your belly flies? Where do you actually feel belly flies? How does it, is it like a thumping? Is it in your chest? And you just, as you talk about it, it seems to be more real and more acceptable. And the child can say, eventually they'll say, well, it happens when I'm doing this. It happens
mm,
when I'm at recess, I start feeling, and then the conversation opens up and it's more clear to the parent of what their next step is. So
mm,
it could be anything. Depression, the children have depression now. I mean, they probably always have, but um just being having a hard time in school dealing with their classes or their classmates. Um, and when parents are going through something, it trickles down to the child as well.
mm. I like that. So what I'm beginning to hear or what I'm beginning to understand, and you're welcome to say that's not what I'm saying, is children will pick up feelings, whether that's from a teacher, from a colleague, from you having an argument, from disagreeing, from whatever the situation, the kids are going to pick up things. And sometimes they don't know what to do with the angst that they are feeling. And they may decide it means what it doesn't. And so instead of the child
Right.
saying, I'm awkward, I'm weird, I don't fit, I don't belong, I am no good enough, what you're doing is introducing this belly flies feeling for them to go, I have belly flies. I wonder what to do. So you're naming the
Yeah.
thing and you're
Yeah.
saying if you feel belly flies, let's talk about it. But I'm just wondering, like, what's the introduction like? Like, if a child is there and maybe they're an introvert and, they're being bullied or something is happening behind the scenes and maybe they're seeing their dad and mom and something is pushing their buttons and they're just going, oh my
Mm,
God, life sucks or whatever, I'm a mistake or
right.
whatever. And then as a parent, maybe you're also not aware that's, belly flies are happening there. What is the way to
Right.
introduce this topic or this book so that the child can know that there is a corner there called belly flies? When I have belly flies, I come and tell mommy about it. Like, how do you make it such a welcome conversation that the child can, come in and introduce that instead of being this very awkward moment and man up and all of those things, to like, this is an invitation to speak and navigate and find some answers.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I find it that the parents are sitting down with their child and reading the book, but as they're reading it,
Mm.
and this is what I did as a parent too, I asked questions about every page. I said,
Mhm.
"Oh, look, like um, this this little boy, he's just confused. Have you ever felt confused? Or this little girl feels left out. Have what do you think that feels like? Bringing it to them, showing them empathy and compassion, and they children want to share, but they don't know how to open up about it. So reading the book, um, as if it's a gift, then that's their special book. They can relate to the different children in the book and the different situations and the results. Like one of the books is going to build a boat. And in that book, it shows inclusivity, it shows depression and how to be compassionate, how to love yourself, how to love others. And that will that brings them to the reality that everybody has something that what they're working on. It's not just me. I'm not alone.
Mm.
Even if I feel this way, someone else may feel that way, but differently. But we're not alone. We can help each other and we can show each other love and we can show each other that there is a way to be loved as you are.
Mm.
And I always found books. I would make any book a lesson, a fun, happy lesson that the children would want to read again. And as we went over and over the books, as children do, the lesson became them teaching me.
Mm.
If you have belly flies, mommy, you can tell me. So it's something that they'll learn and they'll hold on to. Yeah, I think
So
it's
if
easy
I
for
if
them.
I'm listening and going, okay, what are they talking about? First of all, what I want you to do is tell me about the book and what's in there. And I want you also to educate me about what needs to be happening in my parenthood that would draw me to the book. Like, how do I know I need belly flies or whatever other book you've written? Like, what needs to be happening in my journey of parenting to be able to go, oh my God, I need to pick that book like yesterday.
I feel that everybody needs this book because whether they're neurodivergent children or neurotypical children, which is hard to distinguish, because I think a lot of people show symptoms of um, neurodivergency, but I think that it will help them grow and have these techniques no matter what the situation is now. I mean, right now they could benefit from it if they're going through something, but even if they're not, it's a lesson learned and it's something
Mm.
that will go into their mind and grow with them.
Mm. So
That's
is
my
this
opinion, I
something,
think.
is it like I buy the book and read it? Because I'm thinking 4, 5, 6. Like, do kids know how to read a book by that age?
Oh, you'd be surprised. I have read books to grade one children, and I thought it would be too old for them, but they loved it. And I even Matt, the boy that I'm writing about, or that I dedicated my book to, his sister's in grade six, and she
Mm.
said, "Can you read to us to the grade six class?" And I said, "It's for children. It's really for the moms and the dads and the caregivers to read to them and to interpret." And she said, no, no, I really need you to read this book to us. It was her brother. And so I read the book to these grade sixes,
Mm-hmm.
and I was astonished at the questions they asked. And they asked me like deep questions
Mm-hmm.
about feelings and how and when it's time to talk about it. And um, they asked me to read it again. And then when we finished, they asked more questions and they had a discussion amongst themselves and asked me to read it again. So I think that the message is one that I think children need to know
Mm.
that you're not alone, that there's things you can do. Um, and here are some things you could talk to a parent. You can help somebody win something. You can help somebody be happy. Um, and that will take your mind and make you feel better about yourself, and so that you could deal with your problems, even if
I
they don't
know.
know they have it.
I really
Yeah,
like it. So it's like an invitation to have a conversation with the child, so it's not such an awkward relationship that when the kids have maybe bigger problems that you're the first person they tell, as opposed to their
right,
uncle, down in Dallas,
right.
because they are too scared to tell you.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I like that. It's important to have that open communication and to
Mm,
make them, like you say, feel safe that they can tell you anything. It doesn't matter if it's made up, because a lot of times if they make up a story and they
mm.
tell you the story, it has to do with their reality. So I always encourage, you want to use your imagination and tell me a story. Is that something that's been happening to you? It's just very interesting how a child's mind works.
So then what was your original idea, or what's your behind the scenes idea of what these kids will become? Say if I have been reading your books and I lose a parent or both, how am I different from the kid that never, like never accessed the books at all? What are you teaching them that helps them? From what I'm understanding, it's like maneuver no matter what happens, be comfortable with your feelings, and maybe not even allowing your feelings to determine your future, because maybe you allowed them to exist as opposed to
Yes,
oppressing them.
right. Um, I like to teach children that belly flies are okay. It's not wrong to feel this way. So as they grow and they learn that when I go for a run,
Mhm.
I don't feel as bad. I can still think about my problem, but
Mm.
I'm not feeling that problem, and I'm being able to address it clearly
Mhm.
because the whole heaviness is gone away. Or when I do this activity, I'm finding that this is helping me go through the path that I want to go through. So, the children who, if they have lost a parent or they're going through something tragic, this book will just help them to um, navigate their feelings and know that it's okay to feel this way. And your feelings are not who you are.
Mm.
Your feelings are something that you could deal with. And it may take time, but you're to know that they are your feelings and they're worthy of your attention, and you don't have to hide them.
I really
Like I
like
was
that. I
really,
like
really
that.
surprised when
Mm.
when I was reading at schools, I asked the children, is it bad to be angry? And they all said, yes, it is bad to be angry. No, it's not. It's a
Mm.
feeling. You
Mm.
you feel what you feel. Your reaction is what needs attention
Mm.
and needs to be adjusted. But your actual feelings are what you feel. You can't push them away. It's not healthy to hide them.
I really
So
like
we
that
learned that.
because I like that because there's even a saying that whatever you avoid, you attract more of.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
So it really helps that whatever your past is, whatever your childhood is not your future. Like you can
It's
decide like what
right.
you
You
want your
can
future to
choose.
be. Yeah.
As soon as you realize that um, I'm I am holding this anger, as soon as you realize that, that's a first step. That's you've already started letting it go and being a new person and going into like a
Mm,
new reality of yourself. I created this method called Belly Flies Method, and
mm,
it's to help the parents to deal with their neurodivergent children or children of any kind. And it's an acronym. Can I let you know what the acronym stands for?
yeah, for sure.
So B is for believe, and that's
Mm,
believe in your child, believe in yourself. And when you do believe in yourself, the child learns value, how to value themselves because they see you valuing yourself.
mm,
And E is for engage emotions,
mm,
um, not not just like bring forth the emotions and understand, be in their world and understand them.
mm,
L is for listen, but
mm,
putting all your attention to them when they're talking. And it's even if they're being silly, like I said, there's little truths in there too.
mm,
Love with your whole heart. And I
mm,
feel that when people exude love,
mm,
other people feel it. And Y is for yes and that's an improv technique where you're bringing them to continue to talk, continue to explain things instead of saying yes, but is that really yes, but some yes, but this and that.
mm,
Yes, and it just makes them feel comfortable and listened to. And F is for focus, and that's a little
mm,
acronym. When there's an upset, focus on calmness until settled. So
mm,
if someone just can't get hold of their anger or their feelings, if they just focus on a picture or something they love
mm,
and just feel that and then soak all the energy into that, you feel calm and relaxed. And then you can deal with the actual problem that you had or the feeling that you had.
mm,
Lead. So you show your child this, if they're neurodivergent and they have trouble doing tasks, this is how you do it. Not a big task, not clean the living room, but like I would say to my children, clean the living room. And
mm.
my son would say, I don't know what you mean by that. I would have to say, vacuum the floor. I would have to make a list. And as soon as I
Mm.
made a list, he was happy as a clam. He would be doing it all day, cleaning it. But just to say, clean the living room, didn't understand that at all. Then
Mm,
sometimes I would have to say, okay, this, pick this up, or do it this way. And then he would do it fine. And
mm,
I is for imagination, which is very important to encourage. And I think nowadays children aren't getting that outside play as much as they used to, where
mm,
they play with sticks and leaves and they use their imagination, be animals and chase each other. And I think
mhm,
that's important to for like self-healing and gain and learn what they would be interested in their lives.
mm,
E is for encourage, um, and that we do with praise and reward them with something they like, something that they choose. They say, uh, if you do something really good and you would like a reward, what would you like that to be? And then you
mm,
could have that for them and to be sensitive. Everybody's different, and we know that neurodivergent children have many sensitivities, and we have to be sensitive to every single child being different siblings. So, how we speak to them and how we encourage them and all the other things, we have to be sensitive to who they are because they're a
mm.
special little person themselves.
Wow. I love this. And is this what is in the book? Like when
Yes, yeah.
I know you're writing a book for adults. So is this the
Yeah.
formula in the book or
Yep, the whole formula is in the book, plus how it's going to be called, the working title is Discovering the Belly Flies Method. So it takes you through my journeys of where I am that I could find this belly flies method to be useful and required needed with the parents. Yeah. And like you say, if your home life is pretty stable, then your work life is more stable, like is more productive and more enjoyable. And I think if you're having troubles with your child, then it will linger right into your life, the rest of your life. I
Hmm.
think
This
this
is
belly flies method relieves frustrations.
I really like this because even beyond childhood, I've had clients who were still being dragged down by something that happened as a baby because they didn't
Right.
know how to process the emotion and they ran away from it and they avoided it until now it's holding them bondage. And so what I'm really
Right.
getting, and you can tell me if I'm on the right track here, is more like if we can, you know, help our kids resolve the basic flies, butterflies. I was bullied, or I thought I would
Yeah.
upset mom, or those small, small things, then we kind of empower them to not avoid feelings, but face them so they can avoid these feelings, jailing them up. Because I have worked with
Right.
clients, and at age 40, someone is being held hostage by something that happened when they were 4. And that has been 40 years of their life going
Oh,
through that and not being able to show up, maybe unapologetically, maybe confidently, maybe. And maybe somebody has even
mhm.
had like 3 divorces, and it's all coming
Yeah.
from a place of when I was 3, this thing happened. Like, man, if you had belly flies, maybe that feeling
Yeah.
wouldn't have, led you to where you're at. Like, is that kind of what
Right.
the work does?
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, definitely, definitely.
yeah,
I had a client who I was helping him. He's autistic, and I was helping him to write a book, and we ended up writing 5 books. It was great.
wow.
But he would once in a while be really, really agitated. And when I asked him, like, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to tell me what's going on? And he would say, well, everyone hates me. And then when we
Mm,
ended up talking and talking about it, it ended up being nobody hates him. They just reacted um, not positively to something he said. But he took that emotion and he stuffed it down there and kept putting stuff on top of it and not being able to um, enjoy our session. And so when we talked about it, oh my gosh, he changed. He was a whole new person. He was inventive and creative. And oh yes, that's really, really important work to do that, to find out where the belly flies are. Like I would have to ask him, and he was 21. I said, where do you feel your belly flies? And he would tell me, that it's my chest is really heavy. Is that what you mean by feeling belly flies? I said, that's exactly what I mean. Yeah. So like over a little time, realizing that what you said, there's not as much truth to as what it really happened. Like, does everybody hate you in the whole wide world? How many people actually hate you? And we would go down and down and down to, yeah, nobody hates me. So
mm.
it was, yeah, it was really
I wish
rewarding.
I wish I had this book when I was a baby, because when I was a baby, I had a loving dad who gave me his code. And his code
Um,
was be a good child, take your education seriously, only think about 3 occupations: doctor, engineer, lawyer. Get a good job,
oh,
get a good
yeah,
salary, get a good man, marry a good man, have beautiful kids, raise your kids, and who knows, die. There wasn't anything like legacy. There wasn't
yeah,
anything like impact the world. There wasn't
right.
anything like anything. And so every time he said, get a job, become a doctor, engineer, lawyer, I felt the butterflies. I was like, but I want to do
Oh,
business. But
yeah,
I want to impact the world. But
right.
I want to do what Oprah does. But that
Yeah,
wasn't in Dad's code. Oprah wasn't there. It was
right.
engineer, lawyer, doctor. Get a good job, marry a good man, be a good wife, have
Yeah,
kids. That was the code. And every time I ran through the code, I felt a lot of butterflies. But I want to be Michelle Obama. I want to be Oprah. I want to
right.
do these things of like global influence. But I was like, if I
Yeah.
tell my dad is gonna chop off my head. And I kept those feelings bubbling down until I don't know
Yeah.
even know how I dealt with them. But such thing, if we had the belly flies book, maybe that would have helped me feel less awkward, feel less of a black sheep, feel
Right.
less of a. I've always felt like I was someone who rebelled against
Mm,
what was meant to be right for me. And I didn't do anything crazy, but I didn't like the code or the path that I was being given. And that
right.
always brought a lot of anxiety for me. And I wish I had this book because then I would have learned to process that maybe I'm different and different is not bad necessarily.
No, different is everybody. Two
Yeah.
things. First of all, you should be really, really proud of how, where you are. And secondly, your father didn't know. So
Yep.
that's why I started doing this book for the adults, for the parents and the caregivers, because
Mm.
sure they're giving their books to the children, but they aren't showing they're not representing what the belly flies books and the other ones mean. They're just, reading it, but it's really what they need to learn also. But
I
you should
like
be,
to, yeah, I know I'm so proud, but I know that I've done a lot of work as well. And I also know that there's probably people in my place who haven't had the opportunity to get out of the box and go out there. Because I'm from Uganda and a lot of things are just different here. A lot of beliefs, a lot of systems just don't allow the person to be any different. And
right,
I know I talk to clients about whatever you call these butterfly things. And I always say, if you feel anxious, that's probably a sign that you're living in the future. If you feel depressed, that's probably a sign that you're living in the past. If you feel fear, that's probably a sign that you're stepping into something unknown. So I always kind of help them understand what their body's doing by bringing the
right,
butterflies. If the butterflies are coming, maybe the best way to deal with them is to understand what the body is communicating to you in that moment and
exactly.
on the butterflies are not bad in themselves, but it's a message, you know?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I've,
But I
I've,
I can't wonder what that would be worth to me when I was a baby because I didn't have that system then.
hmm,
Yeah.
I, I've learned with myself, if I have an idea or an opportunity, if I'm
Mm.
really, really nervous about it, anxious and fearful, and I have to look into it more. And that's the
Mm.
path I usually take because it's not it's not something like it's out of my comfort level right there. And I find that I have to push myself to it. And I'm not saying that children have to do that because um, they're I think they're growing up is a job in itself, and
Mm.
to learn their bodies and to learn their um, emotions and their um, everything that we give to them in the schools. I think that's a big enough job. I don't think they need to be pushed into the out of their comfort zone yet. But they're
Yeah, yet we can try to do that for them. We can try and get them on camera. Like I know my sister's baby, holidays or not, he's always coaching, learning. I'm like, when does this baby rest? Like, no, he has to do the home. Like, yeah, but like, when does
uh
he actually play as a baby and just rest
yeah.
and not study? And yeah, I love this work. What
Yeah.
else is it that if we didn't talk about your work would be incomplete on this podcast? Because I want it to be like full circle. I want people to understand your heart and your work and how it helps and how to get it.
I really feel that children may not be felt like they're being heard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so when they're not when they feel like they're not being heard, they can be misunderstood. So if they are trying to tell you something, but they don't get that you understand them or that you're there for them, then this develops into something else. This develops into something more, and that's we really have to catch it before that. I know
Mm,
people are busy and I know they're trying their hardest to do everything. And this book that I'm writing is not to say that people don't know how to do this, but just to encourage them and say they're not alone. And if people need to for support in that, eventually I would like after I'm done my book is to get a support group for parents and
hmm.
caregivers, anybody who just needs to chat with each other. And
Mm,
there are support groups out there right now. Um, and people have their own stories, and other people need to hear them. They need to hear what everyone else is going through.
I love that because since I started this online venture and joined communities of people who are like me, I felt less alone. Doesn't matter that
Yeah,
the whole country, the whole of my family don't understand it. I feel like there's thousands and thousands of people who do. And so I have not felt alone since. But before, when I was trying to get my family to get it and get my neighbors to get it and get my friends to get it, I was like, why
yeah,
nobody understand this? But now that I'm in, communities of people who are just like me, I feel like, yeah, I belong.
yeah.
And I think
Everybody
you can
has
be the
their
same.
tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
their people that need them. They need each other. I feel that this world is too much separating. Like they're
Mm,
thinking of themselves and they're not thinking of being together. And I think that's we're all energy, so we all should be together. And
mm-hmm,
I think that's really important now. And in my books, the same thing. I teach that we're all connected. And
mm,
so
mm,
if you're going through something, you're connected to this person, you're connected to the trees, you're connected to the earth, you're connected to everything. So
mm,
it's all the energies of everything um, that is pushing you forward. And I think we need that. And I think love is huge, is a huge energy that we need to remember how to share it and keep it, keep some love for ourselves and share it out there. Mhm.
yeah. I love this conversation. I love Kathy because I think parenting is a really big deal for right now, for us, for the future generation. I think that the future is kids. And I'm not a parent yet, but when I'm a parent, I want to love my kids and I want to feel like I'm connected to them. I don't want to feel like if there is anything wrong, that I am the first person in on their list to tell that when something happens to my daughter or my son, that I will be the first pick for them to share that with them. And so
Yeah,
I don't know if your mother out there and maybe you just want to be like me and just make sure you do things the right way, or that you're not naive, or even if you have like a complex relationship with your child, I feel like Kathy's work is going to be something for you. And I'd like to invite you to check her out. She has books on Amazon, she has books in stores, and she's going to tell us more about her world and how you can get in. But I would love for you to get like your hands on her books and her frameworks and see there's always something that we don't know. And, ignorance unfortunately doesn't like give you a ticket, like it's always nice to just know. Not
yeah,
knowing doesn't really give you a ticket to the right places that you want to be. It doesn't bring the joy, it doesn't bring the comfort that you want. And I would rather you knew than you didn't. So, Kathy, tell
yeah.
us more about how do we navigate your world? Where are your resources? Where should we go to learn more about this work?
Sure. You can go to Amazon to get any books for under my name, Cathy Gagliardi, with a C,
Hmm.
Cathy Gagliardi. Twinkling Links is my website, twinklinglinks.com. If you want to email me, it's Cathy at bellyfiesmethod.com. And feel free. I would love to chat with you. If you want a signed book, and I have little stuffies for the main character, the Yum Yum, the alligator, the baby alligator. If you're interested in anything like that, just email me and I can write something special to your child and send it out to you. So, yeah, remember you're not alone.
Oh, everything about Cathy will be in the show notes. So if you're thinking, how do I spell Gagliardi, the other name? And you're like, don't worry about it. Just scroll in the show notes and it should be there. Every link she has to offer, every place you can find the book should be right there. You can just click on that and go check her out. But if you're listening this because you're best kept secret, because you would love to share your message and get well compensated for it, I would like to invite you to join the community. We have a community on School called Best Kept Secret, where we talk everything, dropping your beliefs, stepping into your power, owning your message and sharing it with the world. But really what's fun is, getting well compensated for it and living the life on your terms that you absolutely love. And so if you'd like to join Best Kept Secret Tribe, you can join us on School. You just have to search for Best Kept Secret or find me on Facebook, Prima Jope. There'll be links all over to find me and join the tribe. I would love to meet you, celebrate your message, and celebrate you. I'm sending you all my love, but I don't know what Cathy wants us to go with. So, Cathy, you will close us off with your last words of wisdom.
I agree. Love is a huge energy, and I wish everybody feels my love that I'm sending out to you.
That's all we have for you today. Kath is full of love for the child and the parent and everywhere she can help to make that relationship better or as good as it gets. So if you are desiring to create a magical world for yourself and your child, please check her out. Every link you need to know about will be rightfully in the show notes. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this helps you get closer to your babies, because a happy parent is a happy messenger. And my goal is to see messengers that are as happy, as fulfilled, as healed as they can get, because the more of those we have, the more they can step into their messages, the more the world gets more light and everything in between. So I appreciate you, sending you all my love, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining this conversation on the World's Best Kept Secret podcast today. If you feel ready to stop keeping your work a secret, head over to primajope.com and request a free conversation. Until next time, please remember that there's no prize in keeping your work a secret.